The teacher told me, Travis, you have to share. And I'm like, that's not how it rolls. And no, I don't. And threw the chair that I was sitting in at her.
His quarterbackness to his advantage there.
Man, get out of here. You watch it again. That Kareem pushes the guy out of bounds.
All right.
Anybody and everybody could catch hands verbally.
Yeah.
Was there like
even
a switch?
even Coach Reed.
Just kind of it seemed like
that
you were
didn't look
playing with
great.
an extra chip.
Travis Kelce can't shake it off when he gets angry on the football field. The NFL is an extremely physical sport. Emotions are high, tempers flare, egos soar. I get it. Travis is one of the most passionate men out there on the field. His competitive nature is one of the reasons why he's the best tight end in the NFL. I get why he has so much fire. He loves the sport, he loves the Chiefs, but sometimes he has a bit too much fire. And flaming out isn't a cute look, especially if folks think you're verging on being a rageaholic. Travis knows he messed up on the Super Bowl sideline earlier this year. And like the kind of emotionally mature man deserving of Taylor Swift's company, he's talking about it. On New Heights, which is the podcast he shares with his brother, the stars ran back the tape on Travis's temper tantrum with Coach Andy Reid. And Travis was like, oh, sugar, honey, iced tea. He added that sometimes those emotions get away from him, and that's been the battle of his career. The Chiefs ended up winning the game for the second year in a row, however, but it didn't come easily to them. And the frustration was pretty evident with Travis. The teams were down quite a bit against the San Francisco 49ers in the second quarter of the game, and when they lost the ball close to their rival's end zone, Andy opted to take Travis out of play. But Travis was obviously furious with this decision and stormed over to his 65-year-old coach for an angry confrontation. He barged into Andy, knocking him off balance, and was then seen aggressively shouting in Andy's face when Andy tried to avoid eye contact. Travis denied he pushed his coach. He made a distinction between using force and running up on him. Okay, first of all, where is the respect? Because spoiled brat golden boy didn't get his way, he gets to scream at his coach and knock him over. Ultimately, Travis's teammate Jerick McKinnon ended up pulling him away from their coach, but Travis's anger continued once he was at the sidelines, where he whacked his helmet against the bench. Viewers at home were horrified by these actions, with a lot of folks pointing out that there is a stark difference between having competitive passion for the game and displaying outwardly aggressive behavior. The star was very much accused of throwing a tantrum and being disrespectful towards everybody and his surroundings in an embarrassing and shameful display. Just before the game started on that fateful day, Reid had actually declared Travis's temper a thing of the past. He said as a player, he's always been very good. Now he had a temper, so on the field he would go off and do some crazy things. And on the CBS post-game show, Reid joked with a big smile on his face, he keeps me young. The red jacket adorned coach added, the part I love is that he loves to play the game and he wants to help his team win. It's not a selfish thing, that's not what it is, and I understand that. So as much as he bumps into me, I get after him and we understand that. Okay, well, I'm glad you two have an understanding, but it's still screaming a whole lot of red flags. And this wasn't the first time we've witnessed Travis behaving badly. Fans will recall his helmet throwing incident earlier in that season. Just a month before the Super Bowl, Travis was once again called out by sports fans when he was caught throwing rival footballer Justin Tucker's belongings across the field during a warm-up. He also hit the headlines during the Chiefs' Christmas Day game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Towards the end of the first half, Travis was shown throwing his helmet down the sidelines and being scolded by Andy for it. Travis did address this particular incident on his podcast after the game, where he admitted, I gotta keep my effing cool, man, because as a leader, that's not how you switch the momentum. Well, let's go back to November of last year. Travis caught once again on camera shoving the Las Vegas Raiders defensive back Amik Robertson and defensive tackle Jerry Tillery. And these antics go back years. In 2017, he was filmed pushing a Pittsburgh Steelers player to the ground after he dropped a pass. Now, at the time, the defender was given a 15-yard penalty because of Travis's action. And it seems as though Travis's displays of aggression aren't even just limited to when he's playing the sport, with comments that he made on the season 2 premiere of his podcast resurfacing amid all of this drama. So on the podcast, Travis and his brother Jason revealed they were both kicked out of preschool. Yep, kicked out of preschool. The conversation started when Travis asked his sibling if he taught his daughters how to fight the Kelce way yet. And Jason said, I have not taught them any fighting techniques. And he admitted that he's trying to keep them from getting kicked out of preschool the way I was. Jason then explained that he got into trouble when he and another student were messing around with sporks, and Jason ended up bopping his classmate hard in the forehead, leaving a mark. And when their dad, Ed, was confronted by a teacher over Jason's behavior, Ed was like, well, why weren't you watching him? Travis then revealed why he was kicked out of preschool, with his anecdote being a little more extreme. So he got kicked out of preschool because during playtime they were playing checkers and he was winning because he doesn't effing lose at checkers. And he said, and if you win, you stay on. So he kept winning and the teacher told him, you know, Travis, you have to share. And Travis was like, that's not how it rolls. And she said, no, you have to share. And then he said, no, I don't, and threw the chair that he was sitting in at her. And he laughed as he told this story, which thankfully caught his brother off guard because Jason was like, you threw a chair at a teacher? Sharing Travis's old quotes on Twitter, one person referenced all of his behavior, saying like, hey, everybody's saying he's just a football player who's passionate. Meanwhile, he's been a brat with anger issues since he was in preschool. Like, come on. Others pointed out that Travis's girlfriend, Taylor Swift, once relentlessly mocked men who became aggressive when playing competitive sports in her The Man music video. So like, is he different at home? Because I'm seeing red flags, folks. We got a whole string of them. Travis's temper made a postseason comeback, and his very sweaty, screaming face immediately lit up the Swiftyverse, who called red flags just like me on this play. The tight end made headlines on July 24th for shoving teammate after George knocked wide receiver Kadarius Toney to the ground. Travis rushed over to the pair as Kadarius angrily threw the football at George. Now Taylor Swift's boyfriend then got in George's face and shoved him. Thankfully, the incident didn't go any further, but it was still remarkable enough to be a pretty long-lasting story, even in sports talk media, where announcers and experts are kind of used to the sight of athletes going kaboom. The Brothers podcast has never seen PR micromanaged, by the way, but thankfully it was a smart move to acknowledge all of the anger going on and address it. Folks, I gotta say, like, did we forget what we're watching? Like, in our collective persona creation of Travis as some kind of epic Build-A-Bear boyfriend, custom made for Taylor, everybody seems to forget what this guy does for a living. Travis's career is an industry based on grown men violently slamming one another around in the name of glory and money. Look, there was once a time when there was a healthy amount of national anxiety about our problematic passion for football. And then you gotta remember the CTE specter. Like, these guys are hurting themselves and one another enough to cause severe brain trauma, which itself carries the potential for violence and aggressive behavior. Then there's the tension around kneeling, patriotism, activism. Travis once took a knee and everybody was talking about it for like a millennium. This is a sport where the bosses and a lot of players are unable to uniformly acknowledge and condemn a lot of violence against people. There's, the whole college ball situation. You've got the players can be compensated for their image and likeness, if not skill, the dynamics of an unpaid labor force, being asked to use your fragile bodies, because bodies are fragile, to generate revenue for a lot of big institutions. There's a lot of power plays here. Look, the NFL was in a bit of a commercial slump back in 2017. Still kind of is. It's standing back up, and we kind of have Taylor Swift to thank for it. So a lot of folks, and I mean like more people than ever, tuned in and watched Travis lose it earlier this year. This year's Super Bowl was the most watched telecast of all time, with nearly 124 million viewers. That's more than 6 times the viewers of last year's Oscars telecast, more than 100 times the number of households that watched Barbie in its first 4 days on streaming. You really gotta think about all of this. And that's all for today, folks. See you next time.